topic which I will be speaking on is the use of scripture and sacred texts in pastoral counseling. Scriptures and sacred texts are an important component of most religious traditions, as they outline the tradition's beliefs and serve as the foundation for religious doctrines. The Tanakh, the Talmud, the Midrash in the Jewish traditions, the Old and the New Testament in Christianity, the Upanishads, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita in Hinduism, the Quran in Islam, and the sacred texts of Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism all offer adherents insights into understanding God, the faith, and their own lives. In each of these traditions, adherents believe that God reveals God's self within the sacred writings. Sacred texts in the traditions offer both life wisdom and a greater intimacy and understanding of God. Nevertheless, adherents within each religious tradition approach sacred writings in unique ways. Some believe scriptures to be infallible and quite literally the direct revelation of God. Others consider scriptures to be important sources of wisdom that are translated or authored by humans and thus fallible and subject to error. Pastoral counselors need to understand not only how clients view the sacred texts of their traditions, but also how they read or engage these texts in living out their faith. Christian counseling is more simply defined as counseling conducted by a Christian who is Christ-centered, biblically based, and spirit-filled. The same can be said for Hindu counseling, for Islamic counseling, for Jewish counseling, for any counseling that comes from a specific faith tradition. Christian counselors employ the Bible in myriad ways, but we need to remember that all counseling approaches and interventions are understood to be based and to be impacted and influenced by the faith tradition from which the client comes. Pastoral counselors, when relevant, employ the sacred writings and scriptures of the client's religious tradition, irrespective of the counselor's own faith tradition. They draw on sacred texts and writings in a manner that invites wisdom to inform the process, the spirit, and goals of caring and the counseling relationship. This is to comfort and strengthen people in crises and to help heal spiritual pathology and change pathogenic beliefs. Scripture and sacred texts can be used effectively in counseling. According to Richards and Bergen, sacred writings are used to help clients, to help them challenge and modify their dysfunctional beliefs, to reframe and understand their problems and lives from an eternal spiritual perspective, to clarify and enrich their understanding of the doctrines of their religious tradition, to strengthen their sense of spiritual identity and life purpose, and to seek God's enlightenment, comfort, and guidance. Depending on the knowledge, expertise, and comfort level of the pastoral counselor, scriptures and sacred texts can be both implicitly and explicitly integrated into counseling. Implicit integration of sacred texts is less directive, waiting for the client to initiate discussion of a text if desired, and less critical, accepting the client's perspectives and interpretations, rather than employing critical, contextual examination of the text. Pastoral counselors may find that when forming therapeutic rapport and gaining an understanding of the client and his or her presenting concerns, implicit integration of sacred texts and scriptures is more appropriate than explicit integration. Before explicitly integrating sacred texts into counseling, pastoral counselors need to explore and acknowledge their own feelings and beliefs about sacred writings, lest incorporation of such writings become fertile ground for unhealthy countertransference. Pastoral counselors need to adopt an attitude of curiosity and a willingness to explore clients' beliefs about sacred texts, rather than rigidly limiting discussions to right and wrong interpretations of beliefs. Finally, pastoral counselors should be clear about the purpose and goal for incorporating sacred texts at any given time within the counseling process. Once the pastoral counselor understands his own or her own and the client's views about the role and function of sacred text, she or he may wish to identify particular scripture verses or excerpts from sacred texts within the client's tradition that offer a helpful hermeneutic or lens for reflecting on the client's presenting problems. The pastoral counselor's job is not to teach a correct understanding of the text. By discussing and reflecting on the client's understanding of the text, the counselor may facilitate within the client a sense of intimacy and connection to God, the transcendent, or an eternal spiritual truth. Interpreting and discussing scripture can also help clients to explore more critically their unexamined or pre-conscious spiritual and theological beliefs. Sacred stories or parables have a powerful way of helping clients to reflect on their experiences and to reauthor their own narratives towards greater empowerment and resilience. Parables and stories allow the client to get out of his or her currently stuck mindset and observe a similar situation being resolved. Ideally, the knowledge gained by following the analogy will transfer back into the client's issue. Clients may benefit from selecting a biblical or scriptural figure whose story, experience, or personality mirrors the client's own. The stories and the metaphors of these characters' lives can enable the client to connect both affectively and spiritually. The client and the counselor can then explore the similarities and differences between the client's problems and those of the scriptural figure, and reflect on how that material can guide the client in future thoughts and behaviors. Clients can be asked to share their most and least favorite scriptural stories. Discussing with clients their most and least favorite scriptural stories can uncover the metaphors and plot lines operant in their own lived experiences. Thus, scriptures and sacred texts can be used to explore dysfunctional or irrational beliefs. The role of the pastoral counselor is not to teach correct belief, doctrine, or scriptural understandings. With a few notable exceptions, the pastoral counselor should not present herself as religious, moral, or scriptural authority, even if they are, because it is the client's understanding that is important. However, it is not uncommon for pastoral counselors to pause when clients' exegesis or interpretation of sacred texts seem to be dysfunctional or not supportive of their greater health. In such situations, it is helpful to discuss such interpretations in depth and to explore how the belief is consonant with the client's tradition. The pastoral counselor is encouraged to practice caring, empathic confrontation rather than aggressively challenging the client. One way this can be done is by providing the client with additional readings that may help the client to reflect on his or her previous understanding and consider other possible interpretations. Such exploration can help the client and counselor work collaboratively towards reframing dysfunctional beliefs into beliefs that are both traditionally grounded and life-giving to facilitate greater psychological and spiritual being. Bibliotherapy, therefore, or using scripture and sacred texts, does not entail referring clients to read and pray for the cessation of all problems. However, effective psychological counseling and intervention can be strengthened through the reading of scripture and both canonical and non-canonical sacred texts. Although the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Talmud, the Torah, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita are commonly accepted sacred texts, counselors should also recognize that clients may apply sacred meaning to texts that are not acknowledged or accepted by any of the major religious traditions. Nevertheless, Bible studies, sacred scripture, commentaries, and biographies of great religious leaders, saints, prophets, and others all help interested readers to grow and deepen their faith and understanding of their religious and spiritual traditions. Counselors may refer clients to read aspects of particular sacred texts, or counselors may ask clients to share with them the texts that have been meaningful to their spiritual and psychological journeys. This would help in returning the client to wholeness and a better way of functioning.